Here's a first look at the new Xbox controller. The Series S just got a serious boost. Check your bank account because Microsoft is giving refunds. Should Halo Infinite fans be worried or excited about this major shakeup? This classic game is finally coming to Xbox to give you a serious nostalgia boost. Just a reminder, if you take a look down at the description below, I have links for all sorts of Xbox gear. If you want to get in on this new generation of Xbox cloud gaming, I also have some links for some Samsung TVs that support the Xbox Game Pass app that they're coming out with. This is a very special edition because I get to take a look at the new Elite Series controller, the white Elite Series 2 Core. Very excited to get into that. So as promised in the intro, I have here in this box the mysterious white Elite Series 2 controller. Xbox came out with a blog post on the Xbox Wire and said, introducing the new Elite Series 2. It's the white Elite Series 2 Core. But shortly after they made that announcement, Xbox was generous enough to reach out to the channel and offer to send us one of these bad boys so we can break it down. Huge shout out to the team at Xbox. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. Seriously, this time last year, Xbox RED posted its first video. And here we are now getting to unbox fancy new controllers. It's awesome. So without further ado, let us get into it. I literally just got this from the FedEx guy. I was waiting for it all day. And there we have it, folks, right here in all of its glory. The white Elite Series 2 Core. So this by itself, just the controller, the core experience, this is gonna run you $129.99, $130 if you round up, probably a couple of extra after taxes. If you want the controller and all the bells and whistles, the back paddles, the thumbsticks, the D-pads, the rechargeable case, that's priced at $189.99. But say you don't want all this, say you already have all this stuff from your last Elite Series controller, you could say, I don't want this, just buy the controller, save 60 bucks. I have my black Elite Series controller right here, so we'll do a little comparison. Let's go ahead and shimmy this bad boy off. Bam, there you go. Right here. I'm always very appreciative of the packaging, the care that Xbox puts into their products. This thing looks pretty freaking clean. I know it's just the difference is the white middle, but that looks clean. It's like an Oreo kind of panda skin. I want to say this doesn't feel as heavy as the Elite Series 2, the black Elite Series 2 right at the box. It feels a little bit lighter, but it feels pretty solid. I will say it feels a little bit more in terms of its shape like a regular Xbox Series controller. See, this kind of, yeah. There you go, you can remove the D-pad pretty easily. It's magnetic, snaps right back on, feels pretty solid. Let's take a look at the back. Yep, and all the standard stuff that we're used to when it comes to Elite Series controllers is there. You got the trigger pull, long, medium, short, and then you have the inserts for the paddles on the back here. Honestly, feeling pretty good so far. Let's see what else they got. And I assume this is just the USB-C cable for when you want to either play directly, lower the latency, or if you need to charge your controller. Let's take a look at the accessories. So if you want the whole package, if you want the controller and all the stuff I was talking about earlier, the paddles, the thumbsticks, the D-pad, you can purchase the complete component pack and make it just like a regular Elite Series 2. I'm gonna take a look at the accessories because I have my old case with me here. I'm gonna see if there's anything noticeably different about these ones they include in the complete component pack. All right, so this comes with yet another USB-C cord. This is the cord that you plug into your case, and then you plug that into the wall, and you can put your controller in the case and it'll charge your controller. And then of course they have the charging dock, and you put it right here, dead center, in your little carrying case. So you'll notice components are mostly the same. You got the 4 different thumbstick options, the D-pad option, and then the paddles. The only noticeable difference is that these are black and these are silver. You can even see in the D-pad very clearly silver and then more of a matte black. So again, not too much of a difference between the new and the old. So let's go ahead and mess around with some of these components that you can interchange with each other. So right off the bat, I feel like my Elite Series 2 black one is a little bit looser when I take this D-pad off. I can't say for sure if that's just an age issue. This feels like it has like a little bit more crispy kind of connection to it. I don't know, a little bit stronger magnetic connection, but again, I can't tell if that's just an age issue, this is brand new controller, this is not, or if that's a build thing. When it comes to the trigger pull, mostly the same. This feels like it's a little bit shorter on the short pull. Messing around with some of the interchangeable parts feels mostly the same. Right off the bat, this paddle specifically for me feels a lot better. I know the big question on everyone's mind is the build quality. Obviously, that's one of the things that Xbox, the team, touted. They said, this controller is a lot better when it comes to build quality. It will last longer. We heard the fans, and it's something that we wanted to work on going forward with these new Elite Series controllers. Obviously, if you haven't picked up on it yet, I can't speak to how this controller is going to hold up or perform 1, 2, 3 years down the line compared to the Elite Series 2. I did have some issues with my old Elite Series 2. I didn't have stick drift, I didn't have catastrophic failure of my bumpers, but I did have some issues with my back paddles. So I'm gonna take the sucker home and I am just gonna go absolutely ham because aesthetically, I love the look of this controller. I'm gonna go absolutely bonkers playing games with this thing. And for sure, I'm gonna circle back to this, revisit this to give it a more in-depth, thorough review. If that's something that interests you, make sure you're subscribed to Xbox Ready and set your notifications to all. Once again, thank you so much to the team at Xbox for sending this over. I can't wait to try it out. Next up, let's talk about Halo Infinite. After 15 years, the Vice President of 343 Industries, Bonnie Ross, will be stepping down from her role in the company. She posted this statement to Twitter basically saying, hey, you know what? We've had a good run. I'm really proud of the work my team has done on all these video games and the Halo TV show, but I got stuff going on in my life, specifically family medical issues I have to attend to. That's why I'm leaving the company. Of course, people just cannot let things go. People cannot just leave a company in the midst of what has been a very tumultuous time for Halo Infinite. If you're not caught up, Halo Infinite is in a bizarro situation where it launched last year. Everyone was like, this is pretty fun, this is pretty cool, I have no complaints, the gameplay is pretty solid, there are some features missing, that's kind of whack, but overall I'm pretty pleased, it can only get better from here. Fast forward almost a year from the launch of Halo Infinite, it's completely reversed. People are really pissed at this game, they can do nothing but complain about this game. God forbid that you come on and say, hey, I think Halo Infinite's kind of fun, because then people are gonna be like, you're a corporate shill, boo, you suck. But from an objective, honest standpoint, we have not gotten a lot of good news from Halo Infinite over the past couple of weeks. I was floored when they came out and said, Season 2, ooh, sorry guys, it's gonna go all the way until 2023. I was like, woo. We also got news that campaign co-op, whenever that comes to Halo Infinite, it's not going to be split screen supported, so it's online only. And they also delayed Forge mode. We were supposed to be getting it this month. They delayed it till November. Hashtag Fire343 was trending on Twitter just a week ago, I feel like. According to Windows Central, studio veteran and production lead Pierre Heinz will become studio head of 343 Industries effective immediately. Going on, they say the senior leadership team will expand with new roles, including Brian Koski, who will become GM of franchise, and Elizabeth Van Wyck, who will oversee business and operations. Now, I don't know what this staff restructuring means for Halo Infinite. Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be worse than we already got? Me personally, it probably won't be worse. I feel like, we've hit rock bottom with this kind of live service aspect of Halo Infinite. I feel like from here, me being the eternal optimist, it can only go up. They can only add more features. Yes, they should have been available at launch. We should have had Forge mode. We should have had campaign co-op. They should have figured out the microtransaction and the pricing system. But hopefully with this new regime, with this new structure, they can turn it around a little bit, because Halo is supposed to be the game on Xbox. It's supposed to be the shooter, and it's not even close to that. Me personally, I have no issue with Halo Infinite. When I play Halo Infinite, I have a great time. I play a lot with my friends, and I squad up with them, and it's really awesome. It brings back great memories of when I used to do that in the 360 era on Halo 3. So I am rooting for 343. I don't think they should be fired. I think they should have a chance to prove themselves now that the past 2 years of all this crazy video game development, all these delays, all the challenges that they've had to deal with are behind them. Cyberpunk 2077 just released its newest patch, the Cyberpunk Edgerunners patch, patch 1.6. It coincides with the launch of the Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime on Netflix. And guys, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I watched the first 3 episodes of that anime last night, and it is awesome. It made me want to play the game all over again, which I'm pretty sure is the point. And as part of this update, they added some things that you see in the anime, and more importantly, they added 60 FPS. They added a performance mode for Series S owners. That is super awesome news considering the last patch that they did, they added a performance mode for the next-gen versions of the game on PS5 and Xbox Series X, but the Series S was sadly left out. They were sadly locked at 30 FPS at 1440p. Sometimes it was a dynamic 1440p, and you know what follows whenever that happens. People go on Twitter, they go on the internet, and they're like, the Series S sucks. It's holding back this current generation. They said it can reach 60 FPS, but CD Projekt RED is saying no, they can't do it. And now with this patch, they can do it. Sure, they sacrifice some things. They sacrifice some resolution. So instead of 1440p being targeted, it's 1080p. And according to this article and Digital Foundry, sometimes it can dip as low as 800p. They do go on to say that difference in the resolution, that drop, can be noticed like in chain link fences and some detailing in the shadows. They also say that when you're in performance mode on your Series S playing Cyberpunk, the crowd density is not going to be what you see on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. But they also say that it's pretty much locked at 60 FPS, even with a lot of the stress tests that they were doing. And they also say that any drops in frame rate fall well within the range of variable refresh rate. They say, in summary, I'm delighted to say that the Edgerunners update brings only good news all around. The addition of 60 FPS to the Series S is an excellent addition. It's really solid, and the sacrifices to achieve it feel fair. The res drop, reduced shadows, and lower NPCs are all trades I'm happy to make. We know that the Series S can push 60 FPS. We see it on a lot of the first-party titles, including Forza Horizon 5. It's not going to be as powerful as a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, but I think what the Series S can achieve is a lot more than what people give it credit for. And it's very encouraging to see a game like Cyberpunk, which is a very demanding game, even on mid-range PCs, perform this well on a $300 console. I think that's the big takeaway here. Next up, let's talk about Stalker 2. Now, Stalker 2 was supposed to be one of the marquee timed exclusives for Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. They were hyping up its edition as far back as holiday season last year. However, unfortunately, because the developers of this game are based out of the Ukraine, they were forced to delay for obvious reasons. There are a lot more things going on in the world that took priority over developing a video game for us to enjoy. Everyone was like, no, take your time, do whatever y'all need to do. But earlier this week, people who pre-ordered Stalker 2 for their Xbox console started receiving refunds from Microsoft, which prompted a lot of questions. Why am I receiving this refund? Is the game delayed once again? What's going on? Now, the last I heard, the team had relocated to Prague to continue working on the game, and they pushed the release date to an unreleased date in the future. Again, for obvious reasons. It turns out the reason that there's no solid release date for this game is the reason why Microsoft is giving refunds, not because they're delaying the game again. The developers have come out and said this: we had to postpone the game to 2023 with no exact release date for now. We made the announcement at E3 Microsoft Extended Show alongside the dev diary and intro cutscene. They continue, Microsoft refunds pre-orders for the games with no exact release date. When we announce the exact release date later on, the pre-orders will go live again for Xbox. Pre-orders on PC, Steam, Epic Game Store are not affected by this. Ultimately, yes, I want to play Stalker 2. I was excited for that game. If they wanted to delay it till 2024, fine, 2025, whatever. I just hope that the team is safe and healthy. Next up, a remastered version of Goldeneye 007 is finally making its way to your Xbox console. Now, this is something that I've been talking about for a while now, and good news, not only is it coming to your Xbox console, it's also being added to Game Pass. Now, if you need a brief reminder, Microsoft owns Rare Studios, the people that made GoldenEye 007 back in the day for the N64. Microsoft bought them back in the day when they were struggling and Nintendo was like, I think I'm gonna pass. It was very shocking at the time. However, even though Microsoft owns the studio that made GoldenEye, Nintendo still owns the right to the name GoldenEye 007, or the IP at least. There's some like contract and rights trickery going on because we were supposed to get a remastered version back in 2008 for the Xbox Arcade, and then all that stuff that I was just mentioning got in the way of that. I don't know what they did to finally work it out, but it's finally coming to Xbox and the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is going to be awesome whenever it makes its way over to Xbox. It's going to enjoy probably a huge player base because just based on the nostalgia alone. But there is one thing that's kind of whack about it. Online multiplayer for this game is only available on the Switch version, which is kind of like, what's going on with that? Hopefully the split screen multiplayer is still going to be available on the Xbox version, but I can't help but look at Nintendo as an Xbox fan and be like, what's the reason? What's the incentive to play it on Xbox versus Nintendo, honestly, other than it being on Game Pass and being part of my subscription? It just seems kind of whack that they're getting a sort of better version over on the Switch side. But other than that, I'm pretty excited. We're apparently gonna get 4K resolution, smooth frame rates, all that fancy stuff that goes along with the remaster of an old game. I think it would be really awesome if they were able to add this to the Game Pass lineup sometime in the holiday season. Maybe not in October because that is like kind of stacked as far as Game Pass editions go, but the month of November and December could use a little bit of help from what we've seen. And because Xbox doesn't have a major first-party game coming out like PlayStation does with God of War Ragnarok, I feel like this little bit of nostalgia could go a long way in driving interest in Game Pass and the Xbox brand.